let's look at some trickier equations that have an x squared in them. And we're still trying to solve for x. We're trying to figure out this mystery number x. Here, it's not as simple as the last slide where I had x squared equals something, because I have x squared plus something equals 12 in this case. So I really need to get rid of this plus 9. I just want to get x by itself. So I want to get rid of this plus 9 so I'm closer to having x by itself, because that's how I win. So that plus 9 I need to get rid of it. And I can get rid of it by doing the opposite, doing the inverse. What happens, one way to think of it, the way that I think of it, is that the plus 9 turns into the opposite on the other side. So it will disappear from that side. It's not there anymore. So x squared equals, copy down the 12, the plus 9 will turn into a negative 9 or a subtract 9. I should have put this equation is true, therefore this equation. There we go. So if this is true, then this is true. And what next? We can put another therefore, the 3 dots. Therefore, 12 take 9, that's something you can figure out. Everyone knows that. 12 take 9 is 3. So I'll copy everything else down, but I'll just replace 12 take 9 with 3. I don't like how my therefore isn't in line. So I'll just clear that and do some nice ones. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so therefore, x squared is 3. Therefore, well, if I've got x squared equals something, the opposite of squaring is plus or minus the square root, because there are 2 solutions to this. And here, that's as far as we can go. Square root of 3 doesn't have a whole number answer. So this is the fully simplified answer. There are 2 solutions, one positive and one negative. Okay, well, let's try this one. This is very similar. I've got x squared. I've got an x squared term there, and I've got a 16 term. There are 2 terms here. Terms are separated by plus and minus signs. So this is a positive x squared term and a positive 16 term. So that 16 will move to the other side. It was positive, and it will turn into a negative. Everything else gets copied down. The x squared, the equals, the 25. I'll put my therefore in. Boom, boom, boom. But the plus 16, the positive 16, moved to the other side and turned into a negative 16. Well, now we can do the same thing, right? We know what 25 take 16 is. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That is 9. 25 take 16 is 9. So if you see a little bit of arithmetic that you could figure out, like 25 take 16, just write the whole equation again and replace it. So I've replaced that with 9. Now we can do the same kind of thing that we did here, which is the opposite of squaring is plus or minus the square root. So I'll put my therefore in. X equals plus or minus the square root of 9. X squared disappears here. Plus or minus square root appears on the other side. It turned into the opposite on the other side. And now the square root of 9 is something we can figure out. The square root of 9 is 3. So the final answer is that x is plus or minus 3. Those are the 2 solutions. Just to check that out, suppose x was 3. Then x squared would be 3 times 3, which is 9. 16 plus 9 is 25. It works. Cool. So the solutions do work. This one here, 3x squared equals 12. Normally you won't see that written with this giant gap. Normally you just see it right next to it, like there. But the reason that I put the gap in is because I'm going to put something in the middle. If we have a digit followed by a letter, like here or in here, there's an invisible symbol in the middle. And that invisible symbol is a time sign. 3 times x squared equals 12. We're going to do something similar. I want to get x squared by itself, but it has been multiplied by 3. So we need to do the opposite of multiplying by 3, and that is to divide by 3. Opposite of multiply is divide, so we divide by 3. Now we can do a similar thing to down here. We know what 12 divided by 3 is, so I'll put my therefore on. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So we copy down the whole equation, but just replace the 12 divided by 3 with 4. And now it's kind of like this one. I have x squared equals something. The opposite of squaring is a plus or minus square root. So the square disappears and a plus or minus square root appears on the other side. Now, unlike this one where I couldn't figure out the square root of 3 as a whole number, square root of 4 does have an answer as a whole number. The square root of 4 is 2. It's a square number. So x equals plus or minus 2. Do you notice that I copied everything else down, the equals, the plus or minus, but I've replaced square root of 4 with 2? Because square root of 4 is the same as 2, the same number. Okay, one last trickier one here. I've got 3 times x, maybe I'll even put, if I can, a tiny little invisible times sign in. 3 times x squared plus x squared equals 10. I'm squaring a product of two things. I've got 3 times x, and the whole group is squared. So each of those things on the inside will get squared. 3 squared is 9, and x squared, I'll just write as x squared. You may want to, I'll just put this up here, you may want to think of it as 3, oh, that handwriting is terrible. That's okay, we'll roll with it. Wow, this is really messy. That's meant to be 3 squared, x squared. Oh gosh. Yes, so you can think of it as, well, the 3 gets a squared and the x gets a squared, and put this extra line of working in if you want. Or you can jump straight to here. That is also okay. So I've got 9 lots of x squared. The rest I'll just copy down. Okay. What next? Now I've got 9 lots of x squared plus 1 lot of x squared. These are like terms. They're both x squared terms, so I can collect them. If there's no number in front of the x, no coefficient, you can imagine that there's a 1 there. So 9 lots of x squared plus 1 lot of x squared is 10. 9 lots plus 1 lot is 10 lots of x squared. And the rest, we'll just copy down. All right, so we've got this crazy hard problem here, and we've converted it into this kind of problem, where we note, oh, hang on, there's an invisible times sign between the number 10 and the letter x. Invisible times sign. The opposite of multiplying by 10 is dividing by 10. So the times 10 will disappear, and it will turn into a divide by 10 on the other side. Do you see that? It was a multiply by 10, and it turned into a divide by 10 on the other side. Okay, well now I've got, therefore x squared equals 10 divided by 10. 10 divided by 10, we can figure that out. 10 divided by 10 is 1. So x squared equals 1. Copy down everything else, but just replace 10 divided by 10 with its answer. And now we're doing something similar to up here, remember? X squared equals something, so x equals plus or minus square root of that something. Therefore, x equals plus or minus square root of that something. Square disappears, plus or minus square root appears on the next line. Okay, well, square root of 1, just like this one, we can figure that out. That's a whole number. Think of it. What number multiplied by itself equals 1? The answer is 1. So I replace the square root of 1 with 1. So those are the two solutions for this. Either x is 1 or x is negative 1. Just to check, if x is 1, 3 times 1 is 3. Oops, I just said 3 times 1 would be 3. 3 squared would be 9. X squared is 1 times 1, which is 1. So 9 plus 1 really does equal 10, so it does check out. Cool. Well, now you know how to solve with more complicated equations with x squared in them. And if you want to tackle these and get some more practice, 8C questions, especially questions 2 and 3, are like these. So 8C, questions 2 and 3. All right, I hope you found this useful. See you, everyone.